Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors and the Miami Heat. They just made a trade together. Andrew Wiggins is going to the Miami Heat with a first-round pick involved. And the Golden State Warriors, they're getting Jimmy Butler. Now, for the last 48 hours, if you pay attention to the NBA, the Golden State Warriors, they have been desperate for an all-star, a complete 180 versus what happened at the beginning portion of the season and what happened last year. They wanted to develop those young players like Jonathan Kuminga, like Brandon Podziemski. They wanted to develop those guys alongside Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. Well, those guys are not ready to play. And right now, they're not impactful players and they're not consistent enough. Stephen Curry, he's been struggling this year. The Golden State Warriors, they are the 10th seed in the Western Conference. They're 25-24 on the year. And they have not looked good in the last 10 games. They've been very off and on. A lot of that is because Stephen Curry has not had that much help. And you bring in a guy in Jimmy Butler. Now, this is no disrespect to Andrew Wiggins because Andrew Wiggins is a very good basketball player. But right now, Jimmy Butler is a better player than Andrew Wiggins. I'm not saying that Jimmy Butler is going to be better than him in the next 3 to 4 years. But right now, as it stands, he's a better cutter. He can run the floor. He could take the ball away from Stephen Curry and give him a break in certain possessions. You look at Andrew Wiggins this year. He averaged 17 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Those aren't bad numbers for Andrew Wiggins. But at the same time, Andrew Wiggins is not the same offensive threat that Jimmy Butler is. Jimmy Butler can get to the rim. He can shoot threes, and he is especially very good in the mid-range game. Now, he will take a night or two off in the regular season. But a lot of Miami Heat fans, they will come out, they'll hate on Jimmy Butler right now. And another segment of Miami Heat fans, they will give Jimmy Butler his flowers. Jimmy Butler in the postseason is one of the best players to have. If the Golden State Warriors can just find a way to get into the play-in game, something that Jimmy Butler is used to doing with the Miami Heat, they should be okay. Jimmy Butler could easily average 20 to 25 points with the Golden State Warriors in a playoff setting. He could take a lot of the offensive struggles off of Stephen Curry. He could take a lot of offensive struggles off of Draymond Green. So this will help the Golden State Warriors push for one more championship. It's tough right now in the Western Conference. I'm going to be real. Because you have the Memphis Grizzlies. You have the Houston Rockets. You also have the Oklahoma City Thunder. All of those teams right now, they're better than the Golden State Warriors. You have the Denver Nuggets, you have the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Lakers, and the Timberwolves to be worried about. But giving Stephen Curry another option of a guy that can take the ball out of his hands so he can just run around and cut across the court, that's going to help out. Long term, you're in a scary situation because your roster is very old. Draymond Green in his 30s, Jimmy Butler in his 30s, Stephen Curry in his 30s. But you're trying to maximize his window right now. And the Golden State Warriors, they came out, they said, we don't want to make a drastic change to bring in a superstar. We don't want to go out there and trade all our assets. Well, they didn't give up much. You gave up a rotational player and Andrew Wiggins, who is a starter. But let's just be honest here. Andrew Wiggins is not a top 10 player in the NBA. And he wasn't going to be on this roster for the next 5 to 10 years anyway. It's not me saying that Andrew Wiggins is a bad player because he's not, but the Golden State Warriors, they get a clear upgrade with Jimmy Butler, a man that has taken the Miami Heat to the finals twice in the last 5 years, and he single-handedly done it on his back. Once you guys realize something, Caleb Martin, undrafted player. Gabe Vincent, undrafted player. Duncan Robinson, undrafted player. Even though they played well, Jimmy Butler helped carry those guys to the NBA playoffs and to the finals. They did step up around him with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, but you get to see Jimmy Butler in a different situation. Hopefully he can have his head on straight. It's going to be very interesting to see him and Draymond Green play together. That could either be a very fun setting for Steve Kerr, or it could be a horrible setting with him behind the scenes because we know Draymond Green and his problems with him punching Jordan Poole a few years back. Now, when I look at the Miami Heat, this was the best case scenario. As a Heat fan, I was begging, please, anyone but Bradley Beal. No offense to Bradley Beal, but that contract is ridiculous. He has a no trade clause, and he's making a lot of money over the next 3 years. No one wants to play with that. And Jimmy Butler came out many times, and he said, you know what? I only want to go to the Phoenix Suns. I'm not going anywhere else. He told the Golden State Warriors 3 to 4 days ago, I'm not going to sign an extension with the Warriors. Well, he took a complete 180, and I'm happy that he did. The Miami Heat, they get a reserve player and Andrew Wiggins. He's going to keep to himself. He's not going to be a headache. And I love me some Jimmy Butler. But Jimmy Butler was a headache with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He was a headache with the Chicago Bulls. You're not going to get that with Andrew Wiggins. You're going to get a player. He may be inconsistent on the offensive end, but his defense is going to be there every single night. He can guard positions 1 through 4, and they don't need him to go out there and be that main offensive star. Look at what Tyler Hero has done this year. He's an all-star this year. Tyler Hero has been a great player this year for the Miami Heat, especially shooting those threes from deep range. And the playmaking ability is starting to get there. It's been certain games this year where they put Tyler Hero as point guard. Now, that's not his best position. He's better off as a 2 guard, as a shooting guard. But I really like what Tyler Hero has been able to do this year, and it's the reason why he's been an all-star this year also. And you have Bam Adebayo, who is still one of the best defensive players to have in the association. Just a versatile big at the 5 position. And they've moved him to the 4 position because Khalil Ware is now their number 5. Something I have been begging the Miami Heat to do for the last 3 to 4 years. Get an actual 7-foot player to play alongside Bam Adebayo. And Khalil Ware, he's doing that this year. So when I look at the starting 5 with the Heat, they're in a good situation. You have Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, Khalil Ware. I like the pieces that they have. And you have Terry Rozier. So I look at the Heat. They're not a top team in the Eastern Conference. And they've never been a top team in the Eastern Conference in terms of going out there and just being dominant on a year-in and year-out basis since LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Every time they made the playoffs with Jimmy Butler, they're around 500, play-in tournament. They find their way into the big dance. And the next thing you know, they go to the NBA Finals or they're making a run. But I look at this move to bring in a guy like Andrew Wiggins. It'll help you defend players like Jaylen Brown, like Jason Tatum. And Andrew Wiggins did a phenomenal job of doing that many years ago when the Golden State Warriors beat the Boston Celtics. Do I see either one of these teams winning a championship this year? No. But the Heat, they get rid of a huge headache in Jimmy Butler. And the Golden State Warriors, they upgrade with Jimmy Butler, a guy that can help them possibly get a championship one more time in the next 2 to 3 years. But they need to make some more moves on that end. With the Miami Heat, you save some money here with Jimmy Butler. You don't give him his contract extension. Andrew Wiggins does have a player option. You could pick that up, but he's not going to stand in the way. He's going to do what the coach wants him to do. And I can see Andrew Wiggins being a perfect fit with Eric Spoelstra. Look what Eric Spoelstra was able to do with undrafted talent before, like Duncan Robinson, like Gabe Vincent. And Andrew Wiggins is not an undrafted player. He went high in the first round many years ago, and he's a talented player. I look at Andrew Wiggins. They traded him from the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's been traded from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Andrew Wiggins is a very good basketball player. He's not going to be the same offensive threat in the postseason like Jimmy Butler is, but that defense is going to be there. Cutting to the rim is going to be there, and that three-point shot should be there more times than not. And it gives you a lot of length in that front court with Bam Adebayo and also with Khalil Ware, and you can take a lot of pressure off of Tyler Hero when you need him to. As long as he's not your top scoring option, you're going to be okay. And we've seen him motor over the last few years with Andrew Wiggins. He's gotten better on the offensive end. So this is a good trade for both teams, for the Golden State Warriors and the Miami Heat. We're talking long term. I am worried about the Warriors because they got desperate and you have a bunch of 30-year-olds on your roster. That's what I will say. Because it can get very scary in the next 3 to 4 years with the Warriors if Stephen Curry doesn't stay around long term. The same with Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler. You have a great head coach in Steve Kerr, and I hope that it does work out. When I look at the Western Conference, man, it's rough over there. I would not be surprised if the Golden State Warriors did not make the NBA playoffs. But when I look at the Miami Heat, they should be able to make the playoffs. The Eastern Conference is not that tough. And when you realize some of the toughest competition is over in the Western Conference. The Lakers, they have Luka and they have LeBron James. The Dallas Mavericks, they have Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they have Julius Randle, and they still have Anthony Edwards. You have a lot of talented teams in the Eastern Conference. Don't get me wrong. You have the Cleveland Cavaliers. You have the Boston Celtics. But the East is more top-heavy than the Western Conference is. When I look at the Eastern Conference, it's about 4 to 5 teams that can actually go out there and truly contend. And then you have the New York Knicks in that conversation also. So the Miami Heat, they should be able to make the NBA playoffs, do something with their first round pick, and it saves them money for this summer to go out there and try to bring in another trade candidate like a Kevin Durant, or try to go out there and bring in a free agent. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about this trade with Jimmy Butler going to the Golden State Warriors, and who won this trade in your opinion? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.